Have you ever needed a system to track contractors like freelancers, subcontractors, or other business partners that perform work for your business? Well, I've got a great way to show you how to do that in HubSpot. Let's dive in. Hey, how's it going? I'm CJ Maurer, founder of The Gist. We are a certified HubSpot solutions partner agency based in Buffalo, New York. Welcome back to another one of our strategic HubSpot tutorials. Today, we're going to be talking about how to track contractors for your business, right? We are a business that sometimes uses contractors. These are individual freelancers or other business partners, actual agencies or other companies that sometimes perform work for our business. Now, we have contractors that provide services directly to the business. For example, Matthew Riley from Retune Marketing is shooting this video. He is a contractor for the business. We also have other contractors that perform services on behalf of The Gist to clients. These could be individual designers, developers, copywriters, and more specialized skills. This video is going to focus primarily on contractors that you may want to track as performing services on behalf of your business to your clients, but this could really apply to any other type of contractor. With the way HubSpot has evolved so much in terms of being able to customize your data model and individual records and associations, there's just more and more use cases for the things that you can track in HubSpot natively. So before we jump in, I actually want to explain a little bit why this is so much easier to accomplish now than it was before. And it has to do with a couple of variables. First of all, HubSpot has introduced more, I'll say, default objects. Everybody's familiar with the common contacts, companies, deals, tickets, right? And then, quotes and products and things like that. But I don't know if it was a year or two ago, HubSpot launched a bunch of other default objects that aren't necessarily in your portal as soon as you onboard it, but you can easily activate it and you don't need an enterprise account to create custom objects to use them. So these are things like services, projects, courses, listings. And if you see here, you can now access all of this in the data model tool, right? Inside Data Hub, which is absolutely fantastic, right? So I'm in our data model builder, which is great. We can see all of the different objects we have here, courses and listings. They don't really apply to our business, right? So you can see that we have not activated this object, but I don't know, if you work in education or real estate or something like that, you may want to activate these objects. For years, right, businesses have tried to shoehorn their data model into things like companies and deals, especially if they didn't have an enterprise account and couldn't create custom objects. So that's one way HubSpot has made this easier. The other way is actually through their pricing model that was updated about a year ago, which actually lowered the barrier to entry to be able to create custom objects. So as you may know, you need any one hub at an enterprise level to unlock custom objects, right? So there's 6 main hubs: marketing, sales, service, content, data, and commerce. If you buy any hub at the enterprise level, you now have the ability to do a bunch of things, one of them being activate custom objects. So for years, our business, we had professional suite across the board. We had every single hub at the professional level, which made sense for us, right? We're a small team, about 10 people. We obviously are a HubSpot solutions partner, so we need to be able to do most of the things that any business would need to do. And we got to pay the same price that everybody else does for HubSpot. So I couldn't get like an enterprise account across the board. So I've been using Pro all the way across the board. But recently, we decided to upgrade one of those hubs, and that hub was Sales Hub, from professional here to enterprise. Now, currently, I'm the only one at the organization that does sales and business development. The rest of my team, they onboard clients, delivery, administrative roles, right? So for a while, including now, I'm the only one that's got a Sales Pro seat. So for us, it was really only a difference of $50 a month. Not nothing, but nowhere near as expensive as it used to be. If you may remember, when purchasing Sales and Service Hub, Professional came with a 5-seat minimum, and Enterprise came with a 10-seat minimum, right? So the baseline, the barrier to entry for Sales Hub Professional used to be $500 a month, and for Enterprise it was actually $1,000 a month. But now they've reduced the minimum seat requirement, so you literally only need 1 seat. So if you have 1 Sales Hub Enterprise seat or 1 Service Hub Enterprise seat, you can unlock custom objects and use them for a variety of use cases, including for contractors, which I am finally going to dive into right now. Anyways, if you're in your data model builder, you just click create a custom object and you can name it, and it'll take you through a couple of really basic settings, right? Then it will show up in your data model. Then when you're in your settings, right, and you're under objects, it'll show up here, right? This is where you update and edit the settings of any object, right? And this is where you can create the contractor form, right? And a bunch of other things. So the first thing that I did was I actually went to manage contractor properties. And if you see them here, I created a bunch of properties that we would need to track information about our contractors. Their name, what capabilities they have, right? This is important for us. Maybe you want to capture a library and segment all of your contractors based on different services that they may provide, right? Data analyst, paid media specialist, so on and so forth. We don't do paid media in-house as an example, right? So now I've created all of the properties that I need. I'm going to go back here and let's go back to object settings. So once I've created all the properties, then I customized the create contractor form. I made all these required. So what this means is there's no way to create a new contractor record without filling out all of this data. So now I've controlled the inputs into the CRM. So I know that there's no way there could be a contractor in our CRM created without knowing their status, their hourly rate, what their specializations are, so on and so forth. So now if you go right here, here's a sample contractor record. It's Ted Lasso from AFC Richmond. He's an active contractor, HubSpot developer. He's got an hourly rate here. This is a pretend link to his contractor master agreement that he would sign with the gist, which protects us and our clients and establishes ground rules for if they are going to do contract work, how that would go, right? And so now it's pretty simple. And any of my emails with this gentleman will go here, and that's pretty basic, right? But to take it a step further, right, we probably want to be able to associate which contractors are doing work on which projects, right? So I have a sample project right here for Retune Marketing. This is a HubSpot implementation project that started on April 1st, ends at the end of July. This is our project record. If you want to see how we set this up, I have a whole other video about how to use projects inside HubSpot. But you can see this is a very customized, right? This is really great for everything that we need. I've got our tasks, our activities, administrative stuff, right? Just so you know, this is all fake information. I'm not sharing anything real right now. I want to be able to go into any project and I want to be able to see what contractors we may be using on that particular project. So I'm going to go back to the object settings here and I'm going to click associations, right? And right now I've already created this, but the way to do it is to click enable an association. Did that for contractors to projects. So this is basically saying, all right, we're allowing these two objects to be associated, right? And then the next step is to create the association label, right? So you may have multiple association labels. For us, we really only need one. So I created a label to say that when a contractor is associated with a project, right, on the project record, it will show this is the contractor. On the contractor record, it will show this is the project. So let's pretend that we are subcontracting Ted Lasso to do some very specialized HubSpot development. So I'm going to go into this contractor record here. I'll just hit refresh for good measure just to make sure everything has been propagated. And I'm going to add this project. And I can create a new one, but I'm just going to go in and add an existing project. And I'm going to select Retune Marketing. And then I'm going to add it as the contractor and hit save, right? So now, right, I can see Ted Lasso, and then maybe in the future, if Ted Lasso has been with us for a year or two, I can create a custom tab here and see a history of every project he's worked on. And as you can imagine, we can even layer this deeper, right? So maybe we want to track specifically how much money we paid Ted Lasso, if we want to track any metrics related to performance or timeline or capacity, all of that can be accomplished there. I think it's just a really, really good way to accomplish that. Now, what if I want to also track activities? What if I want to see any email activity, meetings, or anything that we had with Ted Lasso? Well, that means within this contractor, there's got to be a person, right? There has to be. So we actually have to go back here and set up that association. So I want to be able to associate contractors to contacts. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to click contacts, and I'm going to hit create. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to do it to companies. All right, cool. We have no labels here, right? But I'm going to go ahead and do a contractor to contacts. I'm going to create and configure a label. I'll just call this one. I think this is fine. This is primary. Oh, it already exists. Sweet. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to this record and I'm going to customize it, because now, right, we can see at this contractor what contact they're with and what company they're with. I'm going to go ahead and move this up here. Boom. Boom. And I'm just going to call this contacts. And I'm going to call this company. And now I'm going to save. Right, so now I'm going to associate with an existing contact. I'm going to do it with AJ. I don't actually have a contact named Ted Lasso in the CRM, so you can imagine, and company, I'll just say The Gist. Now, obviously, in a real situation, this would be Ted Lasso and this would be AFC Richmond, but you can imagine I'm not going to create a fake contact right now for this purpose. But there it is, right? Pretty simple. It's very simple. The barriers to entry to create custom objects to begin with are lower than they ever have been. You can very quickly, once you have the ability to create custom objects, create it and name it within a minute or two. You create your properties, you customize the record creation form, set up the associations, customize your views, and now you can just embed a very simple process for tracking contractors, whether they be relative to a specific project or projects, or just having in your CRM, right, a record of all of the contractors that your business works with. Really, really great use case. Is this marketing? Is this sales? Is this service? Is this operations, RevOps, finance, admin? I don't know. The point is the lines between all of these things are blurring. The great news is that there's more ways than ever before to fit HubSpot to meet your business goals and objectives, and not the other way around. So hopefully this video gave you more ideas on how to do that. That is contractor management in HubSpot. Thank you so much for watching. As you know, we absolutely love doing these videos for you. If you want to learn more about what we do, there are links in the description. I would encourage you to subscribe so that you can get more of this content, or subscribe to the Spotlight, which is our weekly newsletter, where every week, every Monday morning, we send a use case breakdown, a video, and more supporting content to make sure that everybody's understanding the best ways they can use HubSpot. Obviously, too, you can get in touch with The Gist if you're interested in, a free strategy session, training, or even hands-on implementation services. Once again, CJ Maurer with The Gist. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.